I mean, that's the impact that I see happening inside of the live launches. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. On one hand, for me, live launches work like this. There are two aspects to it. On one hand, there is the coach, which is you guys. You're talking, you're giving out the value, you're sharing so much, all your wisdom, your experience, your passion, your skill set on one hand. And they're learning from it and they're showing up and you're inspiring them, you're showing them a light to the next step in their lives where they can completely make a huge shift for themselves, their families, their loved ones. On the other hand, you have your team supporting you. You have your team supporting you who are nurturing them, who are building high touch points with them, like at multiple points. I always say 16 touch points. They keep connecting with them because you cannot do it. Your job pretty much is to go live and give out the content and warm them up that way. But your team goes hand in hand with you and they're trained in a very specific way, which is what I do. I train the teams to support you in the way so that you can have crazy number of sales. When I say crazy number of sales, I mean really crazy number of sales, unimaginable territories that you allow yourself to go to, even if you didn't believe that it was possible.
Welcome, everybody. You are listening to the Omnichannel Podcast, a podcast from digital marketers to digital marketers. I'm your host, Dominique Legrand, and my mission is to help fellow marketers and entrepreneurs to grow their businesses online. So buckle up and let's get started. Today I have a very special guest, Himani, with me, who is a specialist. Hi, Himani. It was lovely to see you.
Hey.
You are a specialist when it comes to sales closing techniques. That's your superpower. Can you tell us?
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's what they say? Okay. Well, I know that is your superpower, and I've seen that. I've seen your testimonials. I heard about your story as well. So I'm so excited to have you in the podcast. I'm sure you have a ton of value to share with the listeners. But before you do that, do you mind explaining a bit more about your journey of how did you become a sales closing queen?
Thank you so much for having me on your amazing show, Dominic. I'm so excited, super excited to add value, share as many tips as I can for our listeners, for your listeners. And the story is like this. I started out as a trained interior designer, and I did very, very well with that. So I was designing luxury homes and I was designing high-end furniture and even making it, something which a lot of people are unable to do. And over a period of time, I realized that I was just losing it. And the reason was global marketing, e-commerce, all of that kind of stuff. And, price competition, price points, taking precedence over quality and stuff like that, and availability of a lot of far more price value stuff in the markets. And I didn't realize, because I had, honest to God, I didn't have any marketing background. I can't say someone else that, I've been in sales and marketing for 10 years, 15 years, none. I mean, I ran a business, so I obviously came in with an entrepreneur mindset, which really, really helped, because it didn't take me even a second to switch into that in the online world. So that really came in handy. And I also, because I ran a business of my own for about 15 years before I quit, I also developed the ability to pretty much foresee problems and issues, and to have that connect with my.
That's really good. That's foresight. That's super good.
Yeah. So those things really came in handy for me to adapt to the new me in the online world for the first time. And I just stepped in trying to survive, make my business survive. Somebody said, go join One Funnel Away Challenge by Russell Brunson and create a funnel and it'll save your business. And I did that. And
it didn't.
I think yeah. And in like 7 days, in my checklist, it was like, no, this is not going to work like this. And I completely left my previous life behind and I stepped into a new one, which was the beginning of my online journey as an entrepreneur. And slowly and gradually, I mean, that rest is history. So then what happened is I trained as a business coach under my mentor, who's a 2 Karma Club Award winner. And then she slowly grabbed me into becoming, helping her out with sales for her high ticket program. That's how I got introduced to sales and high ticket programs and group programs and the whole format of live launches. And it so happened that without any prior training, just because of my mindset, because of my entrepreneur mindset, and her training and my willingness to learn it, within, I think, the first launch, I was made the head of sales. I got the maximum sales for her. And I was coaching alongside for my program, and I was doing sales with her. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy for me to manage both the roles. But I did, and I cried for more than a year and a half, I think. But by the time I came out of it, that whole thing, and I was like, oh, I've already helped like 500 businesses, 500 amazing women who jumped in on a call with me at one point or the other, whether or not they signed up for the program. But I've spent like at least an hour each with each one of them, giving them so much value. And that made me realize that I've also now developed that skill where I'm very easily able to find the gap in anybody's business by just talking to them. It comes very naturally to me because I practiced it so much with a very large audience in a short span of time. So that's how I turned into, so from a business coach, I turned into, from a business coach for newbies, I turned into a sales and mindset coach, generic, and then specialized into becoming a sales closing expert for launches, live launches, the 5-day challenges, which I totally, totally love. And I think nobody is offering this, and it's the need. This is the only way I think we can create such a huge impact in the lives of a very large number of people in the shortest span of time. And people need help with moving on to the next level and the next level. And I'm so excited to be a part of their journey and, seeing them grow.
I'm so excited to, first of all, your story is very inspiring. And especially,
Thank
I
you.
mean, you cried for a year. I mean, it's not too happy. But I think a lot of the times, especially when you put into a position that it's, when you need to rise up to the occasion, I think it can be a painful process to get there. But once you get there, you are there. And for you, I think it was a huge opportunity that really shifted and changed your life, and just like you said, talking to over 500 entrepreneurs, it's just incredible to have that, insight in the business, and that gives you like a very special insight that, maybe I don't even know if I talk to 500 entrepreneurs in like in the course of my business. Right. And so that's incredible to hear that.
Thank you.
When you mentioned the live launches, can you tell like the audience why live launches are a great way to sell high ticket programs?
Oh, I can go on, and you'll have to cut me out here because
Fine, it was my
I
question.
love them. I love the
It was my
energy
question.
that live launches bring along. So, I see a lot of people doing evergreen something. I see them doing, okay, I'll go live, I'll do a masterclass or a webinar, 1 hour, 90 minutes, whatever it is, one time, because they feel much safer, much more in control, less overwhelmed. But trust me, guys, once you taste the real power, the real superpower of live launches, there's no looking back. There's no looking back. It's like, imagine this, it's like planning a gala event. It's like planning a fancy wedding where, you're taking care of so many aspects of it. And the whole purpose, the whole goal behind launching is
Mm-hmm.
that you're designing, leading your audience. I mean, when there's so many people who sign up, right? When you put out your link, you run your ads, you bring people organically into your ecosystem, and you get like 500 people signed up, 1,000 people signed up, 1,500 people signed up. The larger, the better it is because you're
Of
going
course.
live, talking to all of them at the same time. And the energy that you create in a Facebook group, all of them happen inside a Facebook group because that's a controlled environment. That's like your party hall, the venue.
Mhm.
And the whole thing is designed with the end goal in mind, that you create a beautiful, beautiful, nurturing, caring, transformative experience for every single person who shows up at least once. At least once. I hope they show up much more, they engage, they communicate, they do the homework, they get questions. I mean, they get answers to their questions. They experience the wins, small wins, big wins, some of, something so that they start believing in themselves finally. I mean, that's the impact that I see happening inside of the live launches. I mean, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. On one hand, for me, live launches work like this. There are two aspects to it. On one hand, there is the coach, which is you guys. You're talking, you're giving out the value, you're sharing so much, all your wisdom, your experience, your passion, your skill set on one hand. And they're learning from it and they're showing up and you're inspiring them, you're showing them a light to the next step in their lives where they can completely make a huge shift for themselves, their families, their loved ones. On the other hand, you have your team supporting you. You have your team supporting you who are nurturing them, who are building high touch points with them, like at multiple points. I always say 16 touch points. They keep connecting with them because you cannot do it. Your job pretty much is to go live and give out the content and warm them up that way. But your team goes hand in hand with you and they're trained in a very specific way, which is what I do. I train the teams to support you in the way so that you can have crazy number of sales. When I say crazy number of sales, I mean really crazy number of sales, unimaginable territories that you allow yourself to go to, even if you didn't believe that it was possible. And that's when you start seeing, experiencing, imagining, enjoying this amazing superpower of live launches. And then you stop doing everything else. Trust me on this.
You gave me chills because you're painting me the picture so well, like especially like with the team, like as work together with the audience and the team is supporting the whole process. What do you think is the biggest mistake that coaches who do live launches make in the industry?
Well, there are enough number of mistakes that they make because most of their coaches, irrespective of how much they have paid to sign up with their coaches, I'm sorry I'm saying this, but yeah, I'm experiencing it. My clients come from very, very reputed, they're already working with very reputed coaches, charging huge amounts of money, but they're not taught this. But let's talk about, since you asked me about the biggest mistake that they're making, is they completely forget that the nurturing process, if the moment they themselves start getting into the DMs, into the messenger, into the inbox of their audience, they have lost that sale pretty much. I mean,
Wow.
exceptions are always there. So imagine I'm saying, do not send them a DM yourself.
Why do you
Are you
think
going
is
to ask
that?
me why?
Is it because they are authority and they are like going down to that level, or what do you think is why do you think they're losing this, or because they don't know what to do and how to close? Which one
Oh
is
no,
it?
they absolutely know what to do and how to close because it's their product, their offer, their
Mhm.
program is something that's them. It speaks totally about them, what they stand for. So if they're good, if they're a good coach, if they're able
Mhm.
to talk well, if they're able to deliver their lives, their content, then I'm sure they're able to also take care of the DMs themselves. But the problem is that I talk about scaling. I only talk about scaling. Like I'm saying that, okay, 80% or 90% of the revenue, you're leaving that on the table. 80
Wow.
to 90%. Whatever
Wow.
you're making, even if you're making $50,000, $100,000, that number it means nothing. And I'll give you
Mhm.
examples if you wanted to about the kind of clients that I'm working with. What numbers are they coming up with? And where are they moving in a very short span of time? So you got to understand that if you make yourself available to your people all the time, it
Mhm.
only shows your desperation. You
Oh,
got
wow.
it's like you're not giving them the next, like you create curiosity in your business, you create urgency in your business to make them sign up. This is exactly something like that, where you create a
Mhm.
strategic gap between you and your audience. I mean, if everybody can, if you keep dropping your calendly links, your call booking links in the comments of your lives, and let people and make yourself, if I may say, loosely available to book a call with, the whole charm of them wanting it so badly to reach out to you and talk to you and get your input is completely gone. It's like you are serving yourself on a platter to them. So you are literally taking yourself away from the position of authority. So, don't do that, guys. Don't do that. And I see a lot of issues, a lot of objections, a lot of mindset limitations that come in the mind. Oh my gosh, I paid so much money. I mean, if you're scaling, you are most definitely running Facebook ads, which are expensive. They're moody, they're crazy. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've spent so much money on Facebook ads. I cannot let these leads people, humans go away. They need to be nurtured. I want to get the maximum out of it. The other one which I get is if I bring in another team of people, salespeople, no matter how much I train them, they know nothing about my business because it's my business. It's what I offer. They're not supposed to know anything about their business. They should be the salespeople. They are in this industry. The salespeople are called as social sellers. That's the industry terminology. They should be able to work between one coach to the other because it's the process that they learn. They're not going to teach. They're not coaches inside your program. You have a 6-month program, 12-month program. They're not coaches in there, are they?
Yeah.
So they're not supposed to teach that stuff. They're supposed to nurture your people. Their role is very, very clear. They're supposed to nurture your people. They're supposed to add value. They're supposed to qualify them, ascend them to the next level and the next level and the next level in the sales pipeline. And they got to disqualify the ones who are not a good fit at every stage. And they got to report all of this in a CRM so that they're able to manage it.
And track
So
it.
that by the time the call gets booked in your sales calendar, they're pretty much yes people because all the work, all the hard work has already been done and nobody's selling anything along the way ever.
It's so interesting how you describe this process of people just booking right into your calendar right away, right? Without having that pre-qualification process going on. And why that is, not the best way to go about it, because then you are available for people, for everyone. And a lot of people ends up wasting your time as well. I think that's something that, we can talk about as well. So essentially what you're saying is that once there are the social sellers done with their job and they book in someone for a call, that has already been through a process of pre-qualification. There's no selling going on at that point. So
None.
would you be then handing that call, like the end of it, to the actual coach? Like would still be the person to have the final touches, or would you outsource it as well? Like what's the process there?
So there are, when I said the terminology social sellers, the sales team for live launches, there are two kinds of people. One is the appointment setter, the other is the closer. So you got to have a lot of experience as the appointment setter in order to graduate to becoming a closer yourself. So all that means is both of them are actually doing the entire nurturing work and qualification, the whole process that I described. They're also jumping in on, let's say, connect calls, which are on a Zoom. They look at their business, they build that connect. They're taught how to ask goal-based strategic questions to grab the information that we need to qualify them or disqualify them, and we report them in a particular CRM in a certain format. I teach all of this.
At the end of the day, who is signing the client? Like who is actually closing the deal? Is it the coach or is it the closer?
Yeah, so it can be one or both. So like when I used to play this role, I would try and close as many clients as I possibly could completely by myself. But there were some people who would have either met with me already in a big sales call, like a long sales call, like a 1 hour, whatever, and they still wanted to connect with the coach. And it was more like, okay, I'm about to pay high ticket. It's a big deal. People hesitate. They want to be doubly sure. They want to be triply sure. They just want to meet them just to have that last question. Am I the right fit? Or whatever, some one or two more questions, like a 10-minute call, 15-minute call, which is perfectly fine. So you can put them on a 3-way chat with the coach and let them take on from there and pass on all your notes from all the work that you've done so far. But there's some people who are newish. They're not yet experienced. They're not yet confident. They're still undergoing training. So it is recommended that that they just book the calls and that's it. So they are called as appointment setters. They're not closers. But I would also highly recommend that the coach themselves definitely take the sales calls, and there's nothing sales about it. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
selling anything because you've
Mm-hmm.
already, so if you've done your lives well, you would
Mm-hmm.
have put out your program, the pricing, the offer, how it's going to benefit them, the whole offer stack, if you have coaches inside, what are they going to get inside, your program, how it's going to change their life,
The benefits, all
what
of
is
it.
the transformation that you're offering. All of that must have been done by now, so that
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to sell anything. They're supposed to know everything before they jump in on a call. And in
Mm-hmm.
fact, I teach in my advanced program, I've got two different levels. In my advanced program, I also teach them that once somebody has booked a call on the sales calendar and they've gone through this entire
Mm-hmm.
long pre-qualification process, then we put them through another filter, which is a pre-screening funnel. You create another pre-screening funnel
Mm-hmm.
and you give them 2 days before they actually jump in on a call. Like, somebody says, okay, I want to book a call. And you say, okay, great. Let me put you on a calendar, and you manually book them so that you can control the date. So you give them at least 2 days so that they can go through the next level of pre-qualification, which includes watching a video in a certain format. And it's like completely, they're like yes people. If they don't do that,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't even jump in on a call with them. So you
Mm-hmm.
save precious time, you save yourself. So you also mentioned about people wasting so much time. They jump in on calls because they're not qualified as yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're expecting free coaching call. They
Mm-hmm.
are not yes people as yet. All kinds of people jump in. Now the problem is two ways. One is they don't sign up and they waste a lot of your time. But
Mm-hmm.
now imagine as a coach, who has so much to offer, not only is the time getting wasted, but then what happens is, let's say I do 20 sales calls and only one person signs up. The first 15 calls, no one signs up.
Mm-hmm.
It has a huge impact on my psyche, on my mindset, and it reflects in the way I'm having the next conversation with the next person and the next person and the next person. It's not good for your business at all.
Yeah. Or your self-esteem as a coach, for sure.
Yep. Yep.
I wanted to ask you about so we talked about this whole process. We talked about the importance of having those, people, social sellers, the closers, all of that just lined up, documenting, tracking, all of that. In your work, do you have a certain degree of revenue when you take on a coach yourself? Like, what is your especially, for example, if tomorrow I want to have a live launch, like if I have a 10K program, for example, I want to sell that in a 5 days, live launch, right?
Yep.
At which point do I need to hire someone for the job to do the sales closing for me? Is there any specific
Yes.
growth curve? Like, is it at the beginning? Is it like, where are you coming to play?
Sure. So my role starts when I see that your business is ready to scale.
Mm-hmm.
When I say ready to scale, there is an ingredient. There are a couple of ingredients which I look out for. So I do a free discovery call before I sign up my clients so that,
Mm-hmm.
I know whether the two of us are a good fit for each other or not. So what I'm looking for is someone who's there are so many moving pieces in a business that they've been working with their coach with for, I don't know, some people are working with their coaches for a couple of years now, and it
Mm-hmm.
takes a while to get all those pieces right and get them up and
Mm-hmm.
running and and when you start getting sales, how many sales do you get is not important as much as whether you're able to now get sales, which means your
Mm-hmm.
machinery has come together, it's well lubricated, all the pieces have come together, your messaging is great, your offer works, your pricing is amazing, you have amazing energy when you're going live, people love listening to you and they're ready to buy from you. So that's the stage. I've had people coming to me who were I have people coming to me who are making anywhere between $20,000 every live launch to $150,000 every live
Mm-hmm.
launch. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the range. That's why I say that number is not that important. But somebody who's making $50,000, they jump to $150,000
Mm-hmm.
right in the
Easy.
first launch after working with me. That's the thing, because they already have the thing running, but they don't have a sales closing process in place. So they are not able to automate the systems. They're not able to
Mhm.
press on the accelerator, the sales accelerator. Um, and they are completely overwhelmed. So, they're like completely consumed by the sales calls because, all of that is
They
happening.
do it by
And
themselves as well.
they don't, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So you were saying that the amount that they're making is not that significant, but what is more significant is the fact that they know how to sell their offers, right? They kind of have those things going locked and loaded already. It's just that they need help with scale up, right? And then also like having those processes down at the end where you close them and help them, with the sales process, and so that's where they can scale up and make more. So there has to
Yeah.
be some of that elements of it.
Yeah, so I actually write SOPs for them. So, like, you hire OBMs for your businesses. So, this is like doing something similar to create the sales closing process, which is where all the money comes from. So,
Mhm.
you have everything systematized. You have SOPs written out for you. I write DM scripts, lots of them to be
Can you
used
tell,
between
for
the.
those who don't know what an SOP is, it's standard operating procedures. You said RID. I don't know what that is. Can you explain those terms as well for coaches? Maybe they're making money, but they don't know the sales terms, so that we're inclusive.
Sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely. With pleasure. So, standard operating procedures is a set of documentation, step by step, written out in a sequence where you say, it's something like you have a launch list when you're doing a launch, or even when you're doing um, um, an automated webinar. There's always a checklist of things that you do in a
Mm-hmm.
certain sequence. Like, let's say your webinar is running on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but every time you got to change the date at least. Every
Mm-hmm.
time,
Of course.
when the emails are going out,
Mm-hmm.
many things, the
That's in a
coaches.
sequence. Yes.
Yeah. So the same thing here. There are a lot of things. It's not that simple because here there are a lot of dynamic pieces. So you got to make sure that everything is cataloged so that you don't miss out on anything. And I'm doing DM scripts, so there are different scripts. I write them out. This is because I don't expect you to sit and write them out. So I meet
Mm-hmm.
you. It's all customized to your business. So we meet every week. I ask a lot of questions, and we create a whole set of training portal that your
Mm-hmm.
teams can use for the life of your business. For as long as your business is
Mm-hmm.
breathing,
Mm-hmm.
your coaching, whether people come and go, your business is going to stay. So you don't have to sit and train them, because the way you nurture your people inside the DMs when you were doing it, it's very different from how the salespeople will do it, how
Mm-hmm.
your social sellers will do it. So,
Mm-hmm.
people have to look at them with a certain credibility. Why should they even start a conversation with them, a third person who's not even a coach? Yeah, so there are things which form a part of the sales closing
Mm-hmm.
process. There are different pieces. One is, as I explained, the standard operating procedures, the SOPs. Then there are DM scripts. So you send out messages, a certain
Mm-hmm.
script template for during the launches. So the launch, what we call as 5-day launches, actually is a 9-day format if you do it the whole thing the way
Mm-hmm.
it is supposed to be done. People obviously create multiple variations to suit themselves. But yeah, let's stick to for the purpose of this podcast, let's stick to the 9-day version. So every day, what do you say to them? How do you
Mm-hmm.
connect with them? How do you reach out to them? You're given homework. So how do you ask them if you can offer them help?
Mm-hmm.
I want them to get on a call, on a Calendly call, on a Zoom call with you, so that you can meet
Mm-hmm.
them one on one, build that super super amazing rock solid rapport with your people. I'm talking about the
Mm-hmm.
social sellers here. Even before they get into the main sales call, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. So
Mm-hmm.
those scripts, then in between the launches, most of the coaches like to do their launches, let's say every 6 weeks, 8 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes 12 weeks, whatever works for them. But in between the launches, you got to keep um, the nurturing process needs to keep going on. It doesn't stop, because there are a lot of people that we've seen. They come for they come for one launch, they come for the next one, they come for the third one. The longest that I've seen somebody sitting silently in the back bench and then, showing up one day and saying, "Where can I sign up?" or "I want to book a call and I have some questions," is 1 year. The guy was there for 1 year watching, showed up for pretty much every launch, and finally it took him 1 year to take that call. So you got to keep nurturing them. You and you also got to keep a log of how many times this person has shown up. There's a lot of data that we are talking about, and the larger the number of people that sign up for each challenge, imagine, first challenge you get like 300 people, which is very, very small size of the audience. The next challenge, now you get up and you start doing well in your business. You hire someone, you hire you hire a team, you hire a Facebook ads person. Dominica is amazing. She's going to come and help you. And so next time you have 500 people, and then you ramp up your ads. Next time you get another 1,000 people, plus you have your audience already sitting in your social media watching your lovely content. So before you know it, you are already past 5,000 people. Now you got to nurture every single person, every single launch. And there's no way and there's no reason why the coach will have to do this job by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
that's
No, 100% agreeing with you on that. We talked about a lot of things inside the how, and like, how does it look like? It looks like a daunting task. So I'm so glad that you're helping coaches with this because it's insane, right? And the bigger you grow, the harder it gets because there's so many people. It's just incredibly hard to have all that data collected. And just like you said, it's an impossible task for a coach to do by him or herself. You also mentioned about how there was one person who took a year to actually convert to a sales, and I feel like that's so true in so many aspects. When a lot of people even come to me, or I'm sure to other coaches or you as well, and I've just been lurking for weeks now. I've just been lurking for months now, right? And so I think we all do, even you, I think, and I do. I think some lurking is always going on,
I do.
Like I am a
As honest
lurker.
as that, I do a lot.
Like we all lurk, right? But because I think for the same reason, the live launches are so good, because then you have those touch points, you have those energies, right? And so that the lurking process is accelerated a bit, but still,
A lot. So this person was an exception, but generally, I would say some people obviously are very impulsive. They are visionaries. There are four different kind of personalities. We'll not go into that a lot, but sales teaches you all of that. But the
Mhm.
people who are visionaries, they take instant action. So they're the ones who generally sign up the first time over. But they're like, that's a small number of people,
I'm a visionary, and I signed up for a coaching program like this. I went into a
Awesome,
call. I was like
awesome,
dropping the money. Where do I sign up? So that's me. I'm very impulsive. I'm not really thinking too
awesome.
much.
So those are the people who get the fastest action. Those are the people who scale the fastest. Those are the people who reach their first $10,000, their first $100,000. My clients are aiming at five. My aim for all my clients is, no matter where they are, if their product is good, if their offer is great, and if they are really passionate about what they're doing, my vision is to get them, each one of them, to $500,000 within a year or less,
Mhm.
every single one of them. And that's why I'm doing one-on-one coaching with them, because group coaching does not allow that,
Mhm.
according to me. Yeah.
What do you think is that? Is because they fall into the cracks, or is it because they need the attention, like the precise attention, and like the tailored messaging and all of that?
Actually, both. Actually, a lot more. Also, because what happens is I see the standard format. So every time there's a trend that's happening in the coaching industry. So most good coaches obviously would follow that. And it's very difficult for them to um, stay on top of all their clients one on one. And they're also trying to pull out time for themselves and their families. So what they do is, the standard format is they outsource their coaching business to, on an average, 10 coaches. You've got a coach who's helping you with one thing and the other thing and the messaging and the offer and the tech and the, you just name it and it's there. And so what happens is, there's a lot of disconnect
Mm-hmm.
between all of this. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, you have hot seats. There are hybrid group programs, which means they're also offering not just the group coaching calls, but they're also offering one-on-one hot seats. You can book a seat, you can show up, you can ask your questions. But the problem that I'm seeing is that you are asking questions from a space of what you already know.
Mm.
Nobody is tapping into what you don't know. And
Hmm.
you signed up with a coach to learn, or to implement what you don't know. If you did, then there
Exactly.
was no need for you to sign up. So there's a lot of disjoint disjoint perspective there, and a lot of those people come to me and they work with me, and I see that a lot of the basics are also not in place. So
Mm.
that's the problem that we are facing.
So what do
So
you mean basics? Is the offer, or like what do you think that you said a lot of the basics are not there? What kind of basics are we talking about?
I don't want to create a polar reaction here on a on a on a
You don't have
thing
to tell
on a
like who's
podcast, but yeah, okay, I will share. So I've seen people um, coming from fancy programs. The pricing of this. I've been a business coach. I can see through the entire business. I may not teach it today, but I've taught people how to write offers. I've taught people how to
mm-hmm.
work with Facebook. They say I'm the queen of Facebook. That's what I used to teach. Used to teach them the whole, all the pillars of a
Mm-hmm.
successful um, business coaching program. And what I see is their offer pricing is so bad. Like it hasn't even taken off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I see that their Facebook is the premise of this entire business. Coaching business runs on Facebook. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you are there on YouTube, you're there on
Yeah.
Instagram, and every other platform of your choice. But as I've always said, because you deliver your program inside a Facebook group, that means the Facebook group or Facebook itself is the pivot of your business. Everything else that you're present on, every social media that you're there on, you grab people from there into inside your Facebook group. So
Mm-hmm.
that's your pivot. And you can have as many platforms, it doesn't matter. So if you're not good at Facebook, if your profile is not optimized, if you don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to set out your profile, it's almost like saying that my business is not even open for business.
Mm.
Basics which you're taught in like the first week. I mean, the first
Do you think
module
it's
or
like a
whatever
brand?
it
It's a
is.
branding issue, like when you're not congruent with like what you're portraying or yourself as well, and like your posts, like your content, or all of that. And
I
yeah,
think I think the biggest help that you need, which you cannot outsource in a business, in a high value coaching program, is getting clear on your messaging.
mm-hmm.
Nobody can outsource that and do it for you, because this is one piece which is aligned with who you are. Nobody else is aligned with who you are. Nobody else can be. You can outsource tech, you can do whatever, you can get
Mm-hmm.
someone to write emails. Even for that, they have to know the basic stuff. But what I'm saying is everything starts from your messaging. And you cannot learn messaging on day one. It's not possible. So I've taken years to reach where I have. Today, I'm talking about sales closing, I'm talking about scaling, I'm talking about $500,000 and more. I'm able to do that because, as I said, I started out as being a business coach for new people who knew nothing. And I struggled because it's so difficult to teach them because they're
And
all
it's
over the
so
place.
hard as well to go from zero
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
something.
Exactly, because their vision is so scattered because they're trying to run after 20 people. I mean, it's very normal. Somebody who doesn't know what they don't know, they are going to find out. So they want to listen to more people. They're not able to make up their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very difficult to get them to take action and get them to bring in the results that you want them to bring in.
Mm-hmm.
So, coming from that space, if they don't understand the basics, if they don't know, it's very easy to say, go and find your target audience without that, and start talking to them and start putting out your content strategically for them, attracting them. You cannot do it on day one. It's not possible. I mean, I'm saying this is a little controversial because when I started out in this industry, I was watching some really amazing coaches, like at least seven of them. And I was moving around. I was a part of at least 100 groups. And I mean, and I was going over from one to the other. And I was
Mm-hmm.
listening to some really good people. Everybody said the same thing: find out who your target audience is, niche
Yeah.
down, niche down, niche down.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I started teaching. When I started teaching, I started saying, please don't niche down. This is not the right time. You're just starting out. You won't know
Yeah.
anything. It's time for you to experiment. See who are your first 5 or 10 clients. Where do they come from? What does that make you? How does that make you feel? What kind of results are you able to bring for them? And by then you will have the clarity. And when you have the clarity, you will know it. And that's the time for you to niche down one level. When
Mm.
I changed my niche so many times, 4 times, 5 times.
I'm so glad you're saying that, because just like you said, it feels as though like everyone was taught from the same, book of like, this is how you operate business, like niche down, like find out, and I understand that it is important to find your authentic self and like your niche. But just like you said, when you're starting out, you don't know what you like. And if you have someone signing up for like a good 6 months something, and you realize that in between you hate the niche, this is not like you are stuck with someone for 6 months, you're coaching someone. So I would also say that your action needs to proceed, and then you have the clarity after. So first the action and then the clarity. And like just like you said, dipping your toe into different waters to see, oh, I kind of like that, but maybe I don't. And so you have to first have those experiences. Then that's not for you, or it's for you or not. So I agree with you on that.
I help people with reaching impossible goals. This is such a great one liner. This is what I call as a signature
Yeah.
offer. This is like, your uniqueness, your authenticity. So, and in fact, anybody, I mean, I'm no one to tell you how to find your coaches if you're new. But in my experience, I think the bigger their audience size is, the distant they will be from you.
That's for sure.
Try not to work with those people. The larger the number of coaches that they offer to you in their programs, stay away. The larger the price of their program, I mean, I'm not saying don't pay the money, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, you
Mhm.
got to invest in yourself, but just see whatever you're trying to do in that industry, there's always like a middle limit. I'm not saying go for the lower limit, but somebody who's like
Mhm.
really really high on top may not always be the best person for you. So always take that call. Always see the ratio of how many coaches to how many people, how many clients, how many students. You need one on one. You need people to meet you one on one. You need people to take a look at what you have done, what you've been doing, whether it is in sync with what needs to get done, and not just give you access to a training portal and say, oh, come and ask your questions to us.
Mhm.
It doesn't work that way. And the longer the program, the longer you're keeping yourself away from, I mean, if you're the kinds who's like, um this is my comfort zone, I'm okay with signing up for a 12-month program. I mean, I never did anything more than 3 months. If
Mhm.
you cannot take action in 3 months and
Mhm.
get the results,
Mhm.
trust me, you will. I mean, this is my thinking, and I'm very radical when I say these things, so you don't have to believe every word of what I'm saying. So do your own research at your own risk. But this is what I have always believed in. So I started my first program for 2 months. In fact, my current offer is also 8 weeks, but this is one on one. That one was
Mhm.
a group program. That's it, 8 weeks, and you get your results. So today the world is fast. Today everything is about clarity, movement, action, results. And I always say, if you are stuck with a mindset coach, I mean, they're amazing. I have nothing against mindset coaches, but this is another radical thought that I've learned by action. Nobody has
Mhm.
taught me this. Is the biggest mindset shift that happens is when you make your first $100, when you make your first $1,000, when you make your first $10,000. That's when the biggest mindset shift happens. Go make that happen and see your mind shift. See the inspiration coming to you. See how you get up in the morning and you want to take that next action that you already know. That's where clarity comes in. And that's how you grow, not by listening to. You can listen to so many people, YouTube, podcast, everything is filled up, whatever platform you like. Keep, filling yourself with positive vibes. But if you're not making money, it's not going to work. That's not
Mhm.
how it works.
Yeah, it's so true. Thank you so much for including that to the podcast as well, because I do feel like our culture, especially, I'm not sure if you see it as well, like especially we're working with coaches in this coaching world where a lot of people tend to consume and consume and consume and consume and consume and believe they need this, they need that, and then at the end of the day they're still not making money, right? And they're still like in stuck in whatever. Like right now you're cool, you have your mindset right, but you're still broke, and that's just not gonna help you in the long term. So
Sure.
action is actually, it's, I know it's not fancy, It's not glamorous, nor easy, nor comfortable, but it's the only way to
It
actually
is
see.
scary to
Yeah.
say the least. Taking action is very scary. Go ahead and do it. You're not going to die. Trust me on this. That's the worst that could happen. You're not going to die. So it's all okay. You're in good hands.
Yeah. I also love how you say, obviously, your mission is to help coaches get to 500,000, right? And in their launches. And
Yeah.
it's for some coaches, I believe that they're listening, they believe that's such an unimaginable goal. What would you say to those people? Because obviously you've seen that happen. You've seen million dollar launches. Like you experience that. You worked alongside as well with a high ticket coach yourself. You know those numbers are possible and there. What would you say to those people who said that's bullshit? It's impossible.
If you love what you teach, if you believe in yourself and you know you're doing the right thing, if you know that you are aligned with what you really want to do as of now, and it can change, it can shift a little bit going forward in your life journey, if you believe that, I'm not trying to tell you it's possible, and I'm not trying to perk you up, and I'm not trying to say, oh my gosh, you can do it, because those are just mindset words for me. And while they're very important, as I said, unless I'm able to get you to take that action, they mean nothing to me. That's the space that I operate in. So going back in the conversation that we've had so far, if you taste the real power of the live launches and why you should stop doing everything else, why you should stop. So I'll tell you, I don't see eye to eye with low ticket at all. So if you are the kind of person who is still working with low ticket, if you are the kind of person who's still offering alternatives to your high ticket clients during your launches or weekly lives or webinars or masterclasses or whatever that you're doing, and you're saying, okay, I have a $5,000 program, but if for people who don't sign up for the $5,000 program, I have this $1,000 or $2,000 program, whatever that it does. Trust me, people will buy that and not your $5,000 program. You're saying no to money coming in into your business. So a lot of business hacks, a lot of things, you got to keep your business very, very simple. And once you start doing the right things, and I help with that also, because as I said, I'm all about sales. So anything that is coming in the way of you getting more sales, any extra piece that you have, any tweaks that are needed in your business, and that's why I work with you guys one on one. All of that is taken care of. And my only advice to you is experience the superpower of live launches. If you've not done them, get into them, find yourself a launch manager or a launch strategist and get started. And experience 1, 2, 3 launches and start understanding how they work. And if you're already doing them and you're like inconsistent, if you're like, okay, some launch, okay, I signed up 4 or 5 clients, another one not, not so good, another one I signed up 10 clients, you're not working with the right team, because it's a very, very um, layered, it's a multi-layered um, system of putting out your offer to your people, which means, in simple words, all it means is that it has a lot of moving pieces. And you need someone, when you are focusing on your audience, your live content, your other stuff, your tech, whatever, managing your business, that's a part of your job. You need a person who can take care of the launch list, every task on the launch list. And it's a pretty long list. If you don't have a launch list, that means you're not doing all the tasks all right.
Mhm.
So do that. And once you experience the superpower, I'm telling you, you're leaving at least 80% of your revenue. So if you're at $20,000, you could have jumped straight to $100,000. If you are at $50,000, then you would have jumped to $500,000, something like that, in the next live launch,
Mm.
something like that. And it's happening to my clients. My current client I'm working with, she came to me when she's making $150,000 working by herself, no sales system in place. And our aim is to take her, she wants to do 100 million. Let's see. I've told her, let's start with 300 and 500K. And so we're going to work together the whole year. And every launch, we're going to up her
Mhm.
revenue. Then the next one, go to the next level. Then the next one, improve the systems even more, scale it up even more. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm installing all the sales closing systems in her business, and it works like that. It always works like that. So that's why I say that. And if you want to know, if you feel that this is resonating and this is making sense, and you have some questions and you want to jump in on a call, so um, I will be opening up a few spots for, especially for Dominica's audience, and to say my thanks and my gratitude for this podcast. And you guys are more than welcome to jump in on a call, and we can discuss, and you can ask your questions directly. That's perfectly fine.
Okay, well, thank you, Imani. Guys, if you're listening and would like to not leave 80% of the revenue on the table, just saying, you're leaving money on the table if you don't work with Imani. So I highly, highly suggest you to reach out to her and to just, again, we talked about taking action. So here I am taking action, telling you to take action as well, and do reach out to her. So
Okay.
guys listening, Himani, can we do 10?
We can absolutely do 10 spots in,
Okay.
for your listeners. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to
Okay.
open 10 spots for you guys.
All right. So guys, jump on this offer that Himani is just making you, because she's not available. Just I'm saying this so you understand as well. She's not going to just open up, her spots for people, but specifically now she's going to make an exception for you and have a chat with her to see what's possible in your business. Because honestly, I don't think I've ever met with anyone who does what you do. You are such a rare breed in this industry. And honestly, this is something that is so needed in the coaching business, especially with the live launches, right? Like we're talking about. And we are shifting towards that when more and more people are doing it. And I think if you're listening to this and you've done before and it didn't work out, it's fixable. It's something that Timani and her expertise can help you fix and just put all the pieces together. So next time when you're launching, you're actually making money or more money or whatever your goal was. So definitely reach out to her and have that first conversation. You're going to be mind blown by her expertise for sure.
Thank you so much. I'm so humbled, and I'm so much in gratitude for such kind words coming from you, Dominica. I mean, means a lot. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. And listen, Himani, it's just, you listeners, you have to understand that really what she does is rare. When I said I've never met with anyone who specifically training, that part of the process and helping with those, it's incredible. So it's super rare as well. Even I think Himani can tell you. Do you know anyone who does the same thing that you do?
So I'll be honest with you. I was researching on my niche. I mean, I was already doing sales
In the
and
sales,
mindset
yeah.
coaching, and so when I came out of my um, mentors program, and I worked with actually two Karma Club award winners, and then I said, okay, I got to do something completely different now with all this information that I'm carrying. It's going to blast my head off. And I used to have these, you imagine, you visualize in your sleep when you wake up in the morning, and you're like, I can do this, I can do this. Different ideas that keep coming to you. And I needed to validate that. And I think I booked about 50 calls in a span of 1 month with people who call themselves any kind of launch support, different areas that, people who work as a team for launches, different coaches, people who call themselves as sales coaches, everybody who does something to do with what I do. And I had one-on-one conversation with each one of them inside of Zoom. And this is what I realized, that there is possibly, I'm sure there is, I haven't spoken to the whole world, but in my understanding, there is absolutely no one who's offering this. And in fact, I'm saying this because I also got to realize, and someone said that your niche is super, super, super niche down. and there's a very small audience. I said, I'm okay with working with a small audience because I'm looking at getting them results that they have only imagined in their wildest of dreams. And I'm going to make it happen for them. And it's already happening for them. So I've
Mm-hmm.
got testimonials from my clients who are getting massive results, and they are further creating such a huge impact in the lives of their tribe. So when they work with a large number of people, they are impacting lives of so many people. And then when those people further get to work with their tribe, because now they are getting trained from their coach, who's my client, now they are able to also impact a much larger number of people than otherwise. So I think this is where I was so kicked, and I realized that this is my sole purpose, literally, to create such a ripple effect, to create, like a dominoes effect, and in some sense touch lives of like a very large number of people than otherwise. And people are not teaching this. People are not even looking out for this offer, because once you sign up with your coach, with your high ticket coach, you're in for 6 months, 12 months, whatever the situation is. You're like, this is it. If I'm suffering, if I'm struggling, if I'm overwhelmed, this is it. I'm going to go to my next coach and I'm going to ask them this question. It will get sorted out. Most often than not, it doesn't. And do you know what is the reason why it doesn't get sorted out, apart from the fact that there's no one on one personalized connect?
No.
And that reason is that none of these coaches, for whatever reasons of their own, are only teaching or putting out strategies and strategies and strategies. And what is needed to close, apart from strategies, is the tactics, the tactical scripts, the
Mm-hmm.
tactical things, the tactical, the real stuff that help you create touch points with your audience.
Mm-hmm.
They do not teach them. It's not a part of their programs. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this with so much confidence because I don't want to name people, but I work with pretty much all the best top notch coaches who are associated with teaching live launch
Mm-hmm.
method. And none of them teach it. And I've
Mm-hmm.
got this on tape. I have
Mm-hmm.
this on recording. I have put out my testimonials on my Instagram handle, which is called Sales with Himani. And yeah, you can go and watch it. They don't have this stuff. Nobody is teaching you this.
And it's so interesting, especially because it's such a huge missing piece, right? It's once that's figured out, that can literally move mountains when it comes to the success of a life launch. So that's why I'm saying it's such an incredible program that you're offering. Can you tell a bit more about your program itself? Like what exactly you said? It's an 8-week program. It's a one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Just a bit more information on what's going to happen once someone is signing up.
Yeah, so it's called Launch Sales Accelerator. So whole idea is to accelerate your launch sales. As Dominica just said, it's an 8-week one-on-one program. So I meet with my clients one-on-one every week, one call a week. Generally, the call is scheduled to be for 30 minutes. My calls can go up to even 2 hours, depending upon what the client needs, because the whole idea is to make it work for all of us. And because if you don't get results, I get really, really upset. I mean, I feel horrible. So that's why I'm very, very choosy about whom I work with. And so basically, so we meet every week. There's a lot of questions, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of looking into your business, explaining to you a lot of the new concepts that you've not been taught so far. And based on that, I write a customized set of documentation, which is like a done for you service. And I put it out I hand it out to you before the next call so that you can go through it and we discuss it one on one. Each week is built one step on the other, one on top of the other.
Mm-hmm.
But if
Mm-hmm.
you already have someone supporting you, I hope you don't have VAs supporting you because they're not trained to be social sellers. Um, yeah, and but they're more than welcome to join in on the calls as well. That's perfectly fine. You get all the recordings of the Zoom calls that we do. You get all the documents. I look at your stuff one on one, like every single thing. So if you don't have social sellers, guys, you got to hire them right now. So people ask me, what is the right time to hire the team? I haven't reached a certain
Mhm.
number of, in
Mhm.
my business. Once I reach there, that's the time I can scale. Trust me, the teams take time to learn, grow, implement, and you got to constantly wean out, remove the weakest link in your sales team. Is all the money is lying in your sales team. All the business money is lying in your sales team. The strength of your sales team. So this is what we do. Even if you are new, if you're not ready to
Mhm.
scale as yet, but you're somewhere in the middle, I highly recommend that you start bringing in at least 2 to 3 people in, and it's not really much on your pocket. So I can explain to you, when we talk, and you train them, and there'll always be one person out of the three who will disqualify themselves. Then you
Mhm.
add a new person, and then
Mhm.
there'll be the weakest link amongst those three, and then you remove the weakest person. So this is a
Mhm.
little longish process till the time you really get a solid team in place who are like rock star closers and
Mhm.
appointment setters, and that's what you want. Because if you really want to scale and you really want to get time out of your business and not sit and nurture every single person inside of DMs and not go completely crazy and not spend 2 hours, 1 hour on the sales calls, then this is what you got to do. And you really, so yeah. So number one is hire the people as soon as possible. As soon as you know that you're into this for good, into the coaching business, please start hiring your people. And then number two is start training them. So this program of mine is basically creating a training portal for your business together with you as a coach. Your social sellers can come in, they can keep getting trained, people come and go in your business, but you and your business stay. So you create the training portal. Most people, most VAs, most salespeople, whoever that you're using currently for your live launches, they're basically just tagging people, putting out some posts, helping you out with some odd jobs. That's not sales at all. That's not sales at all. Or you just asking them to send out some random couple of DMs. That's not nurturing
Mhm.
at all. So when you don't have the training portal, they don't know what to do. They're actually shooting in the dark. So even somebody who may be a good potential to become a good social seller for your company going forward, you may lose out on them because you didn't have the training and you are not taught how to train. None of your programs, trust me on this, none of your programs teach you how to train your people.
Mhm.
So that's
Wow.
where we are.
Wow. It's incredible. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Himani, for being
You're
here.
very welcome. Yeah.
Again, 10 spots are available for Himani. So hurry up,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Hurry up, guys, and book a call with her. And again, thank you so much for being here, Himani. It's absolutely incredible what you're doing. And I cannot wait to see how big this whole thing is gonna get. It's going to be you're gonna be training people to do what you're doing right now, and like, it's going to be like just like you said, the ripple effect of everyone understanding that importance and just seeing the results. And once they see that, oh my God, this is what I needed. So I'm so glad that you were here,
The
and
pleasure is all mine. This is so amazing for me to be able to come. I mean, the way you and I met just a little while ago, and I look forward to working with you as
yes,
well
me too.
on live launches and getting to know you a lot more. But thank you so much for inviting me on your amazing show and giving me this opportunity to speak and put out my message in front of these lovely coaches. And if I'm able to have a little bit of impact in the lives of even one person, I think this whole thing is totally worth it. Thank you so much.